I am dripping with sweat. So, thanks July. Thanks July in Florida. Florida is beautiful, but it's a very hot and humid state. And one of the things that we have been asked about the most since we've moved to Florida is specifically about the weather in the summer and if it's tolerable. Coming to the beach on a beautiful day like today, that's delightful. And with the nice breeze, yeah, it's also pretty delightful weather. But on average, I would say it's tolerable. Delightful, maybe not always, but tolerable. Typical highs, at least here in the Orlando area, are in the upper 80s or low 90s on average, and the average lows are generally in the mid 70s range. But depending where on the state you live, that can vary a little bit.
So some place like Tallahassee might be a little bit warmer during the day, but also a little bit cooler at night.
Right, and a place like Miami is going to have the average high be low 80s, average low would be upper 70s. So it varies from place to place in the state, but make no mistake, they are all hot and humid. This is normally a very busy spot to go inner tubing here in Kelly Park, but right now with everything going on, the activities here are limited to walking the trails. I'm a little bit nervous to even keep going on the trail because I am afraid that with no people around, the alligators have taken everything over. We moved here in the summer of 2018, so last year was our first full summer. And honestly, it was brutal. It was so brutal. We moved here to be closer to Disney World, but I think between the heat and the humidity and the crowds, we just didn't go there at all, hardly ever, last summer. Even something as simple as taking the dog for a walk is something that has to be strategically planned in the summer months here in Florida. If you go early in the morning, it's cooler, but often pretty humid in the morning. If we go midday, it's super hot, like right now here in this direct sun. I'm just glad there's a breeze. If we go in the afternoon, there's always a chance of thunderstorms. Carly doesn't like those. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. I am no stranger to rain. The thing that's just different here is that when it rains, the sky just opens up and it pours. It usually starts with the wind and the dark, ominous clouds. We got a storm coming. There's the rain. And lightning. And then it clears up and it's sunny again. Personally, I don't really mind the rain here. It's just something I have to be aware of because you kind of have to prepare. Like, do I need to bring an umbrella? Because literally the sky can just open up and you will be drenched so quickly. The thunder and lightning is also pretty frequent. That is something I didn't realize before we moved here, just how often it thunders and lightnings, like pretty much every day in the summer. It's also hurricane season, which runs from June 1st to November 30th.
So that's a pretty big window of time.
Yes, it is. We actually experienced Hurricane Irma when we were here on vacation in 2017.
And we were living here during Hurricane Dorian in 2019.
Dorian for us was more of an experience of what it's like to prepare for a hurricane. We ended up mostly just getting wind here. It wasn't so bad in the Orlando area, but it definitely taught me what it's like to have to plan and prep for a hurricane. And honestly, now that we've all experienced the great toilet paper shortage of 2020, you probably have a better idea of what it would be like to prepare for a hurricane here in Florida if you weren't already familiar with the process. We definitely had to learn the hard way what it is like to be days away from a hurricane touching down and frantically trying to find water and supplies to endure the hurricane. So the trick is definitely to be prepared at the beginning of the season and learn about how to prepare and what supplies you should have. We actually found other people, like 6 of them. I think normally when people are in here, this algae isn't all over the place, and it's usually like much prettier looking. I mean, it's still pretty. One thing that's still an adjustment for me is the amount of daylight here in summer.
It's a little weird that there's not as big of a difference between your daylight hours in winter versus summer. Like the solstice almost doesn't matter here.
Yeah. In the summer, back home, we just got more hours of daylight. I felt much more accomplished. Like I could get more done in my day because there were more hours of daylight. Where here it's much more balanced. So in the winter, I like it better because the days aren't so short. But in the summer, it is weird that for a lot of the summer, it still gets dark at like 8 o'clock. I just think spring and summer are especially beautiful here, just all of the foliage. I mean, you see the tropical palm trees year round, that's lovely. But sometimes you see those like bright, beautiful tropical flowers that you just don't see in other places, and it's beautiful. I love that. It's probably a squirrel, but it scared me. I love that I keep trying to talk about the animals, and there are animals making weird noises in the trees that keep startling me. But I really like, I think especially spring. I mean, spring's good for any animals anywhere, right? But I just think it's really neat to see all the different exotic birds and maybe not as much the alligators, but it is kind of cool to see them from afar and when they're small and not too big. But there are also a lot of gross bugs that come out in the summer. I mean, there's cool bugs, but there's gross bugs too. The cicadas are all around, singing a magical song just for us. I mean, the bugs and the wildlife, especially the summer bugs, that's another adjustment too, but that's for a whole other video. Summer here is definitely made better by beautiful beaches like this one. One of the best places you can go in the summer is the beach because the weather's a little cooler, there's a nice wind, there's the water, and Florida has some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. I have loved being able to explore all of the different beaches on the East Coast, the West Coast. I don't think we've explored nearly enough, but they're all beautiful. They're all gorgeous. Summers here in Florida are definitely an adjustment. And although I think we've acclimated pretty well, it still has been an adjustment. I mean, I still come outside every day in July and just start sweating immediately. Would you agree with me that we've adjusted?
As much as you can adjust. I mean, there are really awesome things about it, but it also can still be pretty gross.
Completely agree. It is, oof, that breeze feels so nice. Although it is 100% more tolerable now that we've been here a couple years, it definitely still can be gross. But hey, anytime the breeze picks up, I'm feeling that. It's feeling good. Florida in summer, yes, it can be awful. Our first full year here was pretty awful. But when we moved here, people said, you know, after your first summer, you'll get adjusted, you'll get used to it. And I thought they were crazy. I thought, no way. And it turns out they're kind of of right. Like you do, I mean, is it 100% pleasant? No, but you do get acclimated. You do start to tolerate the gross, sweaty Florida summerness.
A hot, humid summer day in Florida is not my favorite weather.
I completely agree. It is not the weather I prefer to experience, but it is tolerable. And just look at this beauty. It makes it worth it. Thank you so much for coming along with us today. A huge shout out to our patrons. Thank you guys. If you are interested in supporting our channel, we will leave information below. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we live in Florida and we make all kinds of videos about our life here in Florida. And if you would like to see some more videos like this one, make sure you check out that playlist right there. We'll see you soon. Bye.